a couple of questions. How do you think the wider industry, will they embrace it? So that's number one.
Excellent. Yeah.
How does it go in terms of cost and time?
Yep.
And what are the pros and cons?
Yeah, 100%. Excellent questions, man. Really, I think that obviously there was a massive amount of exposure, news, television, social media surrounding that project. In particular, there's been a couple others since for the government housing and things like that, which has been great. Look, I think that you can take it one of two ways. I think at every point in time in carpentry and then further in building, there's always been something that's come out, and every old head or every person that does it a certain way has gone, nah, this will never catch on.
Yeah.
I've done it this way forever. No one will ever do this. It's nonsense. Like, look at cut-on-site frames to now prefab frames. Back in the day, mate, the first prefab frame would come out, Joe, Bob, Bill, everyone down at the pub and that would have been like, mate, this is nonsense. What a bunch of yahoos. No one's ever going to do a prefab house. It's not real carpentry. Now look at it. It's basically the industry standard, excluding, custom renovations and a select few carpentry crews across the country now that really take it to that next level. I think personally, there's never a bad time to look at alternative ways to build. And at the end of the day, there should be no insecurity in the industry around people looking at alternatives, because without looking at alternatives, you're never going to find a better way. And if anyone out there, any carpenter, any builder says the industry is perfect and that we need to change nothing, they've got no eyes, because there is so much that we could do better, but we just don't necessarily have all of the answers yet. So in my eyes, I think people should try their best to take this concept, is there's so much that we can improve on. Try to not see it as competition or as, taking jobs or taking work away from the trade. There is too much work. There is too high of a demand, like you've said, for housing, for infrastructure, for development. Trade rates are stereotypically, in carpentry specifically, a bit too low, and people are undercharging, underquoting, and they fear that this is then going to cause that a problem. But I've never met a carpenter that is actually a 3D printer. You know what I mean? I've never met a bricklayer that is actually a 3D printer, and vice versa. It's not the same thing. So you talk then, we can answer a bit more about timelines and costing. So costing typically, obviously the target demographic is to be cheaper due to a shorter amount of labour on site and fixed cost materials. That's fine. Again, it's a different build concept. A lot of it is fixated or pivots on it being an ideal scenario. So not every home or every job site or every location will be suitable for this. It's big machinery for the most part. It's serviceability based on material access and logistics of moving the machines, moving the materials there. Everything like that stipulates a lot of, all right, where is this going to be a good solution? So if we needed 100 houses in a row and they all needed to be identical and there was no variations, no client, no changes, it makes logically more sense to do the lower cost, faster option where there's not really any money to be made for a tradie anyway, in framing up cookie cutter homes where there's zero margin, they want it done cheap. I don't understand the logic behind carpenters groveling that they want that work anyway. You're not going to make any money. You're not going to get any return on all of your time. And people say, oh, but it's work. And I go, yeah, but at what cost? If people are going to demand to pay less for scale or multiple volume size projects, I say that's a solution and a market perfect suited to a lower cost 3D option. Because at the end of the day, there's always going to be demand for quality building from carpenters. And if you're doing quality carpentry, the demand is not going anywhere. Because again, it's not a perfect shoe. You can't put it on every scenario and it fits. It's just got a market where there's a demand for volume at low cost, and that's always going to be there. So it's either they do something about it and they provide a solution, or we just go in circles and nothing changes.